What's up, guys? Welcome back to Two Dope Boys on a Porch on a podcast. We are two concubines with a porcupine. My name's Samuel, and this is Aiden, and we're here to deliver you some juicy, sweet, beautiful takes about music. Today, we're going to be reviewing an album from the current year we're now living in, 2024. And then we're going to be looking back into our past, but not really, because this one's also from 2024. We're going to be looking at Rate Your Music's random genre generator, and we're going to pick a random genre. We're going to pick one that interests us, and then we're going to talk about an album that we think looks cool. Yeah. And yeah, Aiden, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's the end of a stressful week.
It's been a stressful week for me too. Yeah.
It's been a lock-in week for me, and I'm happy to not have to lock in anymore for a couple days.
Yeah, do you get to kind of just chill out the rest of this weekend?
I mean, yeah.
That's good.
I have one thing that's due on Monday, but like...
Is it a big thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah?
But, yeah. Chill out this weekend.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
I know you, I'll be missing my sweet boy.
Yeah, your sweet baby boy won't be here because I'll be up at Virginia Tech chilling with my boy Nathaniel. We'll be watching Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech up at whatever their stadium's called.
I'll probably watch the game on TV.
Hell yeah.
Or Mizzou, Alabama.
Keep an eye out for me nude in the crowd getting beaten to death by Virginia Tech fans.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Mizzou, Alabama's this
It sucks though. Mizzou, Alabama, and TCU, Texas Tech are at the same time.
Oh, shit. You should definitely be watching Mizzou, Alabama.
Yeah.
This TCU team is ass.
Yeah, they're not.
They beat Utah. But
they did beat Utah.
That's impressive, but they've still... Also, this Texas Tech team. Do you see what happened? They got their ass beaten by Baylor.
Really?
Yeah, 52 to 30-something. It was bad.
I don't care. I don't like either of those teams.
Yeah, but Baylor's been real bad. Baylor's gone out real sad this season, and they just beat the hell out of Texas Tech. And Texas Tech has been Texas Tech was undefeated in the Big 12 before that. So just very strange season this year.
Yeah.
But last night or 2 nights ago, the gods prevailed, and Liberty was defeated by Kennesaw State.
Very cool.
Go Owls, baby. Hootie hoo. Shout out to Big Boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank God Liberty's defeated.
Yeah. Well, jumping into it, we have a very modern week this week.
Yeah.
Two very fresh releases.
Mm-hmm. That's a bad idea.
I'm gonna veto that
one. My mic's really loud. But yeah, we've got 2 albums this week. And which one do you want to start off this week? I'll let you pick.
I think we'll stick to tradition. We'll do the new one first.
The new one of the new releases first.
Yeah.
So this is the album I picked this week as our new release, and it's probably my most anticipated album of the year. It was released on October 11th, and it is the metal band Chat Pile's Cool World. Released on the Flenser label. Chat Pile is one of the best metal bands on the scene right now. They're a sludge stoner band. They got their own weird thing going. In 2022, they released their seminal kind of debut album, because they've had a couple EPs released, but it's called God's Country, very critically acclaimed, one of my favorite albums of that year. And they've just burst onto the scene. They're from Oklahoma City. They're just a fantastic band and have such a unique sound to offer to the metal world.
Yeah.
Lead singer Raygun Bush is one of the best male metal vocalists out there right now. Stin on bass is an incredible bassist. Captain Ron on drums, rocking the hockey sweater, incredible drummer, and Luther Manhole on guitar, incredible guitar. Just a fantastic band.
Yeah, they're great. They bring, especially vocals, hearing that style of vocal in the metal scene now, where it's like a Joy Division, kind of like Ian Curtis, very monotone.
He's got 2 settings to his voice, where he's got the Ian Curtis thing going on.
And then he's got the rah!
Yeah, he's got
the yell.
The way I think of it is Grover from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
He was being tortured in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
Or something like that. He sounds very, very strange. And it's cool. It's so cool. But this is their new release, their 2024 album, Cool World. And let's just get right in. You can probably tell this is one of my favorite bands right off rip. And let's go, Aiden, you first. What do you think of this record? Since you're in the middle of about to take a sip of your tea.
It's too hot.
Ooh. That was a nifty reverse, yeah. What the hell? You're supposed to be going forward, idiot. This guy doesn't understand the road.
Whoa.
Whoa, nifty.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. It's fun. I like it. It's not fun. It's
It's kind of
It's
fun.
depressing, but it's fun.
Weirdly fun. It's fun at times.
It starts off on a fun note, I guess, with I Am Dog
I Am Dog Now. One of the... Yeah.
Song that I wasn't, like, super crazy about, but, like you said, I've begun to...
Are you seeing the vision on it?
I'm seeing the vision a little bit more.
Okay. Because I think this is an interesting thing about this record, because this record had 3 singles released when it came out.
Yeah.
I Am Dog Now, the first track on the album, was the first single.
Yeah.
Mask was the second single, and Funny Man was the third single.
Mask was the only one I'd heard.
Yeah.
Previous to the album.
I listened to all 3 off the bat, and I remember not being crazy about I Am Dog Now when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Mask, because that was the second single released, and I was like, this is one of the best songs I've heard all year. This thing is incredible. I'm so excited for this album. And then they did Funny Man, and I was kind of like, Funny Man's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And then now that because I've delved into this record, I've listened to it like 3 times already, which is a lot for me. I don't really go back to records immediately. And now I completely see the vision on tracks like I Am Dog Now and Funny Man, and they're just a very different style than what you would expect from Chat Pile. They're a little bit more straightforward, metal. And they talk a lot in the interviews leading up to this about how Korn was a big influence for this, which Korn is kind of like the band you don't really expect from a kind of like very critically acclaimed metal act like Chat Pile to be into. But they talk a lot about really being into like butt rock and shit. Yeah. And like really being inspired by Korn in high school. And you can kind of hear it in this. Yeah. Especially in I Am Dog Now.
It's not in a bad way either. Mm-hmm. It's like all the kind of goofiness of Korn, like the weirdness of Korn, but not like... Yeah. Not like the bad playing and like the...
Right. I think it's offset, like, they're very much into, like, Steve Albini rock as well. Mm-hmm. You can hear their love of, like, the Jesus Lizard, like, Big Black. I've heard them talk in interviews about how much they love the Folk Implosion and, like, the stuff on, like, the Kids soundtrack. And they just take from such a wide variety of influences, and they have such an interesting production style where everything's a little bit lo-fi and trashy, especially the drums. The drums sound like a trash compactor. Yeah. But it just all kind of... Like, they just take such a style of influences that it kind of takes a second to let it seep in and, like, really, like, sit with.
Yeah, but I think it's, like, if you're looking for a fresh metal album this year, I haven't heard much metal that sounds this innovative in a while. Yeah. Over the summer, we reviewed... listened to the High on Fire album. Yeah. And I thought that one was pretty interesting, but it didn't really reinvent the wheel.
Was that the one with like the orange background and like the flying ship? Yeah, that one was like, that's kind of like a cool metal record that wasn't, like you said, wasn't reinventing the wheel, wasn't doing anything special, just a good solid metal record.
And this one, like, not to compare them because they're 2 very different styles of metal, but this one really gives you a brand new experience.
Mm-hmm. And Chat Pile is just so, I think, inseparable from their roots in OK City. Like, as a band, so much of their inspiration is drawn from that kind of arid landscape, and especially a lot on their first record, God's Country, where they talk so much about, like, evangelical faith and about, like, heaven and hell and about all these, like, conflicting body metaphors and all this imagery of salvation kind of mixed with, like, cutting yourself and, like hammers and grease is a big recurring theme on their song Slaughterhouse. And this record just kind of takes all that kind of, like, angst, that American angst in there, and kind of expands it out into the larger world. And it's such a great progression from album to album, and it works so well on the Cool World here, because there's so many tracks about just, like, the horrors of war, just the horrors of being alive, and there's a weird push and pull between it's really catchy at times, and yet overall the album is just such a punishing and brutal vibe all the way throughout.
No, and I think, like, even compared to their, like, old stuff, the Purple album one.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
I forget the name of it.
It's like the Dallas Beltway, maybe?
Something like that.
That might be
it's
a
got
song.
A couple... That's probably got some of my favorite Chat Pile tracks on it. And that one's even more personal, and they're, like, more of addressed themselves as a band and addressed the music scene and landscape around them. So it's, like, interesting and cool to see them as they kind of broaden themselves in the music scene, the kind of broadening their horizons in terms of, like, what they're making music about.
Right. And it's just such a catharsis. And Well, I don't think catharsis is quite the right word now that I think about it, because I don't think they are looking for levity or like hope. It's just kind of like really acknowledging the horribleness of the world we live in, and just the kind of like there's just so much good, like it's so well written a lot of time, and I think metal albums often don't get the credit they deserve for like really good writing. And Ray Gun Bush, I don't know if he's the only writer on it, but whoever is writing the Chat Pile songs, just beautifully written stuff. Like you look at a song like Mask, which I think was both of our favorite tracks.
Yeah, that's
off
our
this album.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Not even
alert.
spoiler. We're announcing it now.
Yeah.
That's both our favorite.
An incredible song.
Mask is a perfect metal song.
Absolutely perfect. And it's so, like, it's one of the ones where Ray Gun Bush waits to do his big scream thing and just kind of does the monotone Joy Division thing for most of it. And it's just this, it uses all this, like, very surreal imagery and, like, mixed with very practical imagery about, like, a couple fighting. And it's all this stuff about masculinity tied up with, like, power dynamics. And it just kind of leads to these really, really horrifying, like, images of, like, not being able to accept oneself or accept love. And it ends with just him screaming, "Cut me open," at the end. And it's just a perfect progression, a perfect, like, riff. All of it just leads so perfectly into this, like, cacophony at the end. And it's just one of those songs, one of those records that makes you think, this is just how you do it. This is just why you listen to something like metal. This is just why you listen to extreme music in general.
Yeah.
This is as, like, cool as it can get. This is as good as it can get. It's catchy. The riffs are sharp. The metal is loud and harsh, and it means something beautiful. And it's just, I just think Chat Pile is one of the best bands we have out there right now. And this record is one of their best.
What did you give this album?
This album was an easy 5 for me. Well, actually, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I forgot I changed my rating system. This is a best.
Yeah.
This is just the best it can get. I'm so excited we have Chat Pile. We're going to see Chat Pile in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going? I don't know if I got tickets.
I think I got you a ticket.
You got me a ticket?
I think I got you a ticket so you can, I think
Cool.
so. I think so, yeah.
We'll
Either
see.
way, I'm going to Chat Pile.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're going. But we're going to see them live on, like, November 22nd, I think, and I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. The only 4, probably leaning 4.5. The only thing holding me back is a couple tracks that I just wasn't super crazy about, that being the 2 other singles, Funny Man and I Am Dog Now, as I'm still coming around to it. I just think that those 2 songs for me didn't seem fully realized.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But the rest of the album, it's still like, like, it's trending. It's trending up.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
I do genuinely think this is one of those records that the more you come back to it, the more it has to offer.
Yeah. And I think I even mentioned to you that it's like, this rating for me is even more of just a personal bias because I love their older stuff so much that, like, I don't know. I think it will just grow on me. And I'm hoping it does.
I also want to say, before we move on to the next album, that even though we only picked Mask as our favorite song, I also want to shout out Shame, especially the second track, as just having an incredible chorus. And then Frownland has such a cool guitar tone in the beginning. And also Camcorder is a very different song from their normal style. Camcorder is, like, I think the 5th or 6th track. It's like 6 minutes long, and it's a little bit more just kind of drawn out and almost not quite post-rocky, but it's a lot more drawn out, which is an interesting direction.
Nice.
I just think it's so great that they can keep everything that makes their sounds, at least for me, I felt like they kept everything that makes their sound punchy and original and vibrant while also making it so expansive. I feel like that's a very rare feat for a band to pull off, especially a band that could have so easily pigeonholed itself into one sound, because Chat Pile has such an immediate gripping sound. You kind of, like, always know, oh, that's a Chat Pile song.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to progress as far as they did in this record, I think is so impressive, and also incredibly, bodes so well for their next releases. And this is just one of the best bands now, and is a band that we're only going to be getting more and more excited about as they keep going.
Yeah. Frownland was
Frownland is
very notable.
Did I say Frownland, or did I say
You said Frownland.
Okay, yeah, Frownland's great. Tape is really good.
The New World's great.
New World's great. Milk of Human Kindness was really good. And No Way Out was a perfect closer.
I wasn't crazy about Milk of Human
Really, I
Kindness.
can't remember too much about it. I just remember liking it. Also great title, too. I remember No Way Out is just this perfect hellish closer.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Yeah. Just a fantastic record.
Great album. Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it the recommendation.
Yeah.
Go check this one out.
All right, you want to move on to our next record?
Yeah. Next record.
This was your pick for the week.
Was my pick. We got the genre space disco.
Hell
and,
yeah.
well, I don't think this album quite fits the genre. There's disco elements, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. It's definitely a stretch by Rate Your Music, though.
It's a stretch, but it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was Chorus by Mildlife.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called. Yeah. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, Mildlife, first off, is like an Australian kind of jam, like psychedelic rock band.
Yeah, and funk
psychedelic funk kind of thing going on. Just some Australian dudes having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And this record slapped. I gotta be honest, I had kind of low expectations going into this, because when I saw Space Disco, I was like, oh, like, probably, like, we should be listening to, like, some 70s stuff. We should be listening to, like, I don't even know what we should be listening to, but definitely some, like, 70s stuff. And then you pick this record, I was like, oh, some white guys from Australia, like, are they gonna make some cool disco? And they had that ass.
Yeah.
They got that shit on.
They can, like...
They can groove.
They can play. They can really play.
Yeah.
We looked at, like, I don't know, I think we looked at their live stuff together, and, like, whoa. Like,
yeah.
They're cool. They kind of seem like they're doing what I like to do, which is, like, make funky music that messes around with synths.
Yeah.
So it kind of was in my wheelhouse already just by that.
And also the record messed around with like, it didn't just sit in one sound. I feel like it dodged two main problems you get with, like, white boy jazz.
Yeah, especially, like, very instrumental heavy.
Yeah. Like, I feel like stuff like this, stuff like, I would kind of think of, like, Snarky Puppy in this genre.
Yeah.
If you, like,
I think I like this more than Snarky Puppy.
Oh, me too. And I think stuff like obviously Snarky Puppy, those types of bands, very talented musicians, but they have a hard time getting out of that sound and trying something new. And also, like, sometimes those mixes can just sound really sterile. Like, I don't know what they do to it, but they can just make it where they lose the groove somehow.
Yeah, well, they do the thing, I think, sometimes where it's like they're so good that they do too much.
Yeah. And these guys, Mildlife, A, knows how to experiment in cool ways. Good, yes. They know how to experiment in cool ways, and they also know exactly how simple to be with it. They know when a groove is just right, and when a riff is good enough that it doesn't need to be pushed to some crazy proggy limit, that they just need to sit in that groove and just let it ride. And this record just understands that.
Yeah, the whole project just feels very effortless. Like,
it's a great way to put it.
Not in the idea that, like, they didn't put much thought into it, because they clearly, like, are putting a lot into, like, the different sounds they're trying to make and they're trying to get from their synths. But, like, it really just sounds like a bunch of friends just jamming at the end of the day. Yeah,
and it just it explores so many different styles of jazz and disco in this kind of small space, and just in a very fun, light way. It's not reinventing, like, these genres. It's just kind of dabbling in a little bit and taking pieces. There's parts of it that sound like a Tame Impala record. There's parts of it that sound like a Tangerine Dream record. There's also parts that sound like a Masayoshi Tanaka record.
Yeah.
And there's parts that just sound like straight up disco.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can just feel the record just feels like they sat down in a studio for 3 days and just jammed.
Yeah, they put their own spin on this really cool, like, this sound that like is kind of tried and true. Yeah, and it's just a great time. Yeah. And it's one of those that I just feel like I could always put on. Like, never a bad time to listen to this. It's cheerful. I remember I listened to this when I was walking to Kroger. I forget what I was getting, but I was just walking to Kroger to get something small. And it's just, like, walking in the sun with this record just put me in such a great mood. And, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Mildlife, I think, definitely kind of exceed my expectations. What was your favorite track on that? I picked the second track on the album, Yourself, which was the more, like, J-pop influenced song, and just had a really, like, good guitar tone to it, just had a good feel, and they had, like, some good vocals on it, too. They didn't do a lot of vocals on this. When they did, it was kind of just, like, kind of soft, muted, like, white boy musings, and it was just very calming, and just kind of like, I can just, like, kind of close my eyes and bob to this. Yeah, my favorite track was, I think you said,
Yeah,
the first track.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
It starts the album off with just like the grooviest little groove.
Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, that was the more Daft Punky one. There might have been a vocoder on that one. And, yeah.
Yeah, that one was just... It was the Daft Punky one. It was the vocoder one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the vocoder, and it had like a weird synth thing, I think, in the middle.
Yeah.
So...
Really beautiful synth tones throughout. And I think really important for a record like this to have a lot of varied synth tones. I think it can be easy to slip into just kind of like finding one good synth tone and sticking with that. But they experimented so much with like real bright, punchy synths and like long, drawn out, spacey, tangerine dreamy synths.
Even like some modular sounding stuff where like is kind of just like glitchy and bleepy.
Yeah.
And I think that was my... I think if they're doing anything that's like really different and really impressive, I think the use of like the synthesizer and how they use it to improvise over their stuff is really like... I don't really hear many people doing it like that. I don't hear a glitchy synthesizer solo.
Yeah,
but it really works on this project.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anybody that does anything like that. I can't,
I mean,
I'm sure.
You got some old, like, jazz.
Right,
that, like, kind of dabbled in that, but, like, they kind of, I don't know, they got their own thing to it.
Especially a glitchy synth in this, like, smoother, like, easy listening kind of style of music is a very, like, interesting thing to me. Yeah, I think,
All right, and what was your, the Samuel rating?
This one's a check. This one's a thumbs up, good album. You should listen to this. Absolutely worth your time.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one a 4 as well. Really fun. Only 2 tracks that I wasn't super crazy about, and even those, they're so listenable that they're like, might as well listen to them anyway.
Right,
like it's not that they're bad. Just, but, yeah, super easy listening.
Yeah.
I'll give it a soft recommendation for a go listen. I don't think it's as much of a must listen as Chat Pile. Prioritize that one, I guess, if you want to listen to both of these, but
you can't have a bad time with this record, though.
Yeah, if you need something, just cleaning the house, walking the dog.
Yeah, if you want to shake a little ass, like not like shake ass, but if you want to like kind of like give a soft little like joyful wiggle as you're walking, this is the kind of record to do that too.
Yeah, if you just want to like just vibe out.
This is like the kind of stuff that the dude from The Big Lebowski would tell you is like you really need to be listening to.
No, it's just smooth stuff.
And I think we were talking about this a little bit off air, but I don't think we've ever had a week with such disparate vibes between albums. Just like such a smooth, beachy, good feeling album, and then like the world is a hellscape. And the crimes of like humanity are inescapable. Yeah,
I listened to this one too after I think the Chat
Really?
Pile
Did you go back to back?
Yeah, and I was like the Chat Pile one was like left me like sobbing because like the world is ending, and then like this one was like but there's this there's smooth funk.
Smooth funk. Yeah, uppers and downers.
Yeah.
I remember
both great.
Yeah. I was driving to Murfreesboro and I was like, I'll put on Cool World again. Why not? And I remember like I just was not in the headspace for it that day. And I got to like the 4th track and I was like, no, I can't do this right now. I love this record, but I just get like this is just not it right now.
Yeah. All right. And now with that, I think it's time to move into our favorite segment.
Our favorite segment.
We didn't even name this. No. Well, we called it Jack's Track.
Oh yeah. It could just be Jack's track again. Yeah. Even though he's not here and had nothing to do with his picks.
He's written into the lore now.
Actually, that's not true, because Jack, I think, showed me this band that I'm going to show you.
Oh, cool.
So this is technically...
Well, he's in the lore now. So.
Yeah. Jack is in the podcast air. We feel... Jack's inside of us. Jack's inside of all of us, when you really think about
He's like the Holy Spirit.
He is, yeah. Jack's like a wild goose.
But yeah, I think... The first one I got queued up is Jane one.
Jane.
So,
our old friend of the podcast.
Yeah, Jane Remover.
Do you think Jane Remover would fuck with us?
Probably.
I feel like she's way too cool for us. Well, she might... I feel like she's too cool for me.
She's too cool for both of us.
She's too cool for both of us, yeah.
I don't know. We give good reviews. I think
Yeah.
And
We talked about her extensively at one point.
yeah.
And, like, we'd never say anything bad about her.
Yeah,
her music's awesome.
We love Jane.
Yeah. Jane Remover, come on the podcast.
That would be so cool.
That would be fun. We could put her your Youngle Scott
That would be
right now.
so cool.
She would definitely come on our podcast.
That's an open invitation.
That's an open, yeah. I'll work on getting you, like, the visitor parking pass.
Yeah.
You can park up and curb over there, and we'll, like, walk out and meet you and, like, walk you down the staircase. Like, we'll show you around, like, yeah, you'll love it. You'd love Belmont University.
Yeah. All right, but Jane Remover recently just did today. This dropped today.
Today.
This is brand new.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses. A remix of "Shake It Like a" by Frost Children and Danny Brown. Frost Children, one of the most exciting electronic hyperpop duos coming up right now. Danny Brown has been, like, iconic internet rap figure.
Yeah.
He's kind of undeniable at this point. He has a great discography behind him. I love Danny Brown.
I keep forgetting he's 40.
Yeah,
That's so strange to me.
He's been cooking.
Yeah,
like,
he's just been around.
And the cool part about that is he's, like, really into this, like, new electronic scene and like this new alternative underground scene.
You know what he reminds me of in a weird way? It reminds me of how Allen Iverson talks about, like, the NBA right now, because you'll see a lot of, like, old heads talking about, like, the NBA now, and they'll be like, oh, the game is so much. And then you see Allen Iverson talk about it, and he'll just go, man, these young kids are so exciting. They're doing such good stuff on the court.
Yeah.
And you just love to see. And, like, I love to see an old guard of any field just be very excited about what the youth are doing with it, and not holding on to, like, not that Danny Brown's the old guard.
Yeah.
Like, Danny Brown just released one of the best hip-hop albums of 2020. Was that 2023?
Which one?
Scaring the Hose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Danny Brown is but Danny Brown is an older has been around a while, and it's cool to see an older figure in the scene, like, really trying to bring up the exciting new stuff.
Yeah,
like this.
and stuff that's, like, not in his
not his wheelhouse. Yeah.
He's just, like, he's talked about his love for Jane Remover's music, for this type of, like, new electronic music, and so he really just has a love for it, and it's really cool to see him just even do something like a small little verse on a track like this.
Yeah, him and, like, Vince Staples in a different way, but him and Vince Staples are the two, like, big, like, semi-mainstream rappers I can think of that really, like, are pushing, like, hyper-pop and electronic sound.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just cool. It's good to see.
But, yeah, so he hasn't heard the remix yet.
I've not. I listened to the original. Yeah.
Don't quite remember. You said you didn't really
I've listened to it, like, once and was like, that's really good.
The remix is worth checking out because it's
It's our gal.
It's Jane Remover throwing everything at the wall.
Okay, I'm very excited.
We're gonna jump right into "Shake It Like a" Jane Remover remix.
Shake it like a Jane Remover.
Oh fuck! So loud.
Holy shit! I was like ready to turn. Oh my god!
I'm sorry I had to do that to you. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Brace yourself.
That was Shake It Like a Jane Remover remix.
Yep.
Frost Children, Danny Brown.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of noises. That was insane.
It's crazy.
I mean, that I remember I looked at like up at the 40-second mark, and I was like, holy shit, there's like 3 minutes left. What is she gonna do in 3 minutes?
A lot.
So much. And like, I don't know. That's like, I don't think I might not be going back to this song.
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
it's not an easy listen,
it's
but it's so fun.
It's so fun, and it's so technically impressive.
Yeah.
There's so many cool noises. And like, this is kind of what I would rather have out of a remix than just kind of a stale remake of a song. Like, just go ham with it.
Yeah.
Like, just let Jane Remover use all of her, like, all of her chops to just kind of make the weirdest shit you can think of. And, like, it still bangs at a lot of parts.
Oh, yeah, I think it bangs throughout the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's still, like, even through all of it, there's still, like, a undeniable, like, on the floor groove to it.
There's the one part where, like, at, like, the 2-minute mark where it just cuts out and just goes...
Yeah.
And, like, it's just insane.
I love the, like, the little part where it's, like, cuts and it's, like, shake it like a...
and
shake it like a...
and it just ends on, like, metallic hell noises. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a track.
Yeah, I also just... That track originally is just...
Oh, yeah, that track originally is
it's
so
so
gassed just on its own.
Shake it like a dog in the rain.
It's a great track. And, I mean, that's just cool. Like, this is the kind of thing that you love to see artists like this working together.
Yeah.
And you love to see them getting this weird with it.
You never think, like, a rapper would be a part of a track like this.
Yeah.
And knowing Danny Brown, he probably loved this.
Oh, yeah, he probably is listening to this, like, every morning.
Yeah.
Like, going on his podcast and talking about it. Like, this is the shit.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Like, it's just doing so much. It's cool that you can do that much.
Doing a lot with a lot.
Yeah. Doing more with more. All right. Now we have Burnt Almonds.
We have Burnt Almonds by Mute Swan, which I don't know much about Mute Swan, but Mute Swan is kind of like one of those bands that got completely passed around my friend group back home in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Jack or Nathaniel are listening to this, they're like going to be like, yes, it's Mute Swan time. Because, like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know who found them first. I'll say Jack, and then somebody will get mad at, like, Marie will be like, no, it was me. But, like, somebody found them first and shared them all around our friend group. And this whole album came out in, like, 2021. I forget what it's even called. But every song off this thing is a banger. Mute Swan, the only thing I know about them is they're some Australian shoegaze psych rock band. And they're just cool. This record's just great. And I could have picked any song off this record. Burnt Almonds, I don't know. It's just the one that spoke to me in the moment. So, yeah, let's check this one out.
Just letting the reverb go.
They're just letting that reverb ride, brother.
They're just letting it ride. Bronco Nation.
Bronco Nation.
Let's ride. Yeah, that was a very nice little pleasant experience after getting put through, and not getting put through in a bad way, but getting put through Jane Remover hell. Instead
of all the noises, what if it was just one riff the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like kind of put me in a trance.
Yeah.
It was good at that. It was I really liked the distorted guitar that came in right before the 3-minute mark. That like kind of just like built up more distortion.
It's a real siren sounding guitar tone, and I just really like that guitar. I think they're more in like the slow dive vein of shoegaze. At least that song's a little bit. They've got some more songs that are a little bit more wall of soundy. Like the first track, "Go Out in the Light," which I almost showed you, but it's like 6 minutes long, so I didn't show you that one. That one's got a crazy good intro though. But they're just like that record's just cool.
That song's in 3 too, I think.
Is it really?
Or like I think it's in 3/4. Yeah.
They have a song later on the album called like 4/3. So they like probably fuck around time signatures.
Yeah, that one was not in 4.
Okay.
It was like the drums are like.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds
like that. That was good. I like 3/4 in a shoegaze setting.
Hell yeah!
It makes you just like.
Ooh, man, dude.
You thought we weren't going to do a bit where we get close to the mic this episode.
We have one bit.
One whole bit.
dirty bit. That's the other bit. The other bit is get. Oh. I dropped my pillow. All right. Whoa.
Ready? I'm gonna strum this, and then it's gonna play a soundbite of the Seinfeld theme song.
Yeah. Dude, we're like sound engineers.
Yeah.
This is just like John Travolta in Blowout.
It's just like Rick Rubin.
This is what Rick Rubin does.
We mix our podcast like Rick Rubin.
Yeah, one block.
All the faders up.
Just imagine like System of a Down in the studio playing like Toxicity and Rick Rubin just in the back. Just doing that.
That's how I imagine Rick Rubin in all settings.
He's like stroking his beard thoughtfully as he's like slowly pushing the compression slider up.
Yeah, compression slider, pushing it up like with his toes.
Like like the Red Hot Chili Peppers in the studio, just like as soon as they turn their back, he just jams the compressors up.
Boom.
Dude.
Yeah. I have nothing left to say.
I am also done saying things.